Hello and welcome on how to use the in-game tile creator version 1 and version 2. If you want to skip to version 2, which we will do after version 1, obviously, there will be a timecode on the screen right now, and maybe you can even click on it depending on if I figure out how to do that actually on YouTube. Well, let's start with Tile Creator version 1, and version 1 doesn't even start in Tabletop Simulator. By the way, version 1 is this one, where you just have to save this little tile. As you can see, if we go into its description, we can see it has a template right here. I'll zoom in it and post if I remember to. This one you have to save, open in your browser, and download. This picture then should look like this. This is Photoshop, pretty easy. The picture you download is a template that includes a black ring, the rip sign, the background, the several different statuses, and the side of the token or of the tile you want to use. If you've got that, you now need to put your art into that circle. For that, I would recommend either Photoshop, GIMP, or whatever program you want to use. It's technically possible to do it with MS Paint, though I think it'd be a pain, so I'd really advise you to try and get into a different, more complex program in order to do this. Well, I've prepared something here, which is, this is the tile we want to create. This is the Hathora tile in a bee costume. Don't ask why I have that, I just have it. And if we want to make completely sure that it looks great, we will have to get rid of this circle. By that, we either delete it by simply deleting it, or if you want to go the extra mile like I have and just want to make it its own layer, you can just do this then. Now this is the template we will need to use to create our tile. This one has to be now uploaded to the image hosting site that you prefer. It can be your own private server, it can be Google Images, it can be Imgur. I honestly use Imgur because it's the easiest. That is what I've done right here. Now this is now uploaded to Imgur, and here's now your warning. Some of you might have already noticed my PC looks a bit different. It's entirely set in German because I'm German, so this one should say for you copy image address or get direct link. Now you have to copy the direct link of the picture into your clipboard. Once you've done that, you go back into Tabletop Simulator and just put the link that you've gotten, make sure it ends in .png, into this description right here. Now if we now do anything, nothing happens, because now we have to rename the tile Create. This is important because this starts the crypt creation process. Now we pick that up, and a bunch of tiles appears in front of us. Now the lighting of this mod is a bit weird, so if we just set it to something more akin to the URAMS lighting, somewhere like this, you can see the tile actually have the right background. If you want to change what the background looks like, you just need to go into this tile and change the color tint right here. So for example, we want a blue background because this is going to be a player token and we want to make all of these blue. We do this and put in the link again. Now that we've got the link in there, we pick it up once again and we can see the background automatically adjusted to the right color that we've chosen. That is great. Now we can just select all of them from left to right, that is important, and right click on the most left one, the one without any status conditions on it. Then we press Create States, and voila! That's all you'll have to do. The tile is now created. It has several different states. You can save it, you can rename it, you can name it Sarah, or whatever name you want to use. And that's pretty much it for version 1. Next up is version number 2. Version number 2 needs to be a bit prefaced before we talk about it. Version number 2 isn't as great as version number 1. Version number 1 is a proper URAMS tile that can even change the background color at will. The thing is, number 2 can still do that, but not as easily and not as great. This one is really for the times where you need to prepare a campaign and you need custom tiles. This one is really great for that. Or you know how to use Photoshop and all that other fun stuff, and you want to edit your tile maybe and put your own art on there. Then this tile creator right here, version 1, is by far the better one. Even though this one is a bit more janky, this one has additional features that make it still kind of viable in certain situations, so let's talk about how to use it. Now this one can be used with 3 different methods. Method number 1 is to use the tile, the custom token maker that I've provided with it. Number 2 is going to be any tile that is a uRealms tile. So, for example, we have a normal tile right here. This is one of the vanilla tiles that is available in the normal mod that has the unexpected discovery map in it. This is a normal ageless skeleton with different states. Now, your question might be, it already has different states, why do we want to use that? Well, a lot of people are drawing on their tiles. For that, you just lock them, and then you can draw on them. Angry eyebrows that are way too big, maybe a bit of a goatee, whatever you want to draw, that's fine. Now, if you've drawn on this tile, you can already see that the drawing does not persist through different states, because that's not how Tabletop Simulator works. And that is a bit of a bummer. This tile creator can fix that. It basically takes this drawing and creates states that sit on top of that drawing for it to look like every single state has the drawing, even though technically every single state doesn't even have a drawing. I know it sounds complicated, I'll show you how to use it in a second. Or it can even do the same thing with tiles created from this tile creator. This tile right here was created by the tile creator. This is my Thanos Kobold. Don't ask questions. And you can see the difference in tiles already. This one is a bit like shorter, this one's a bit higher, but they both work fine. Also, this guy works just as well. This one will create tiles from art you've uploaded either directly to Imgur or you found on Google. I will show you how to use that in a second. We'll go through this tile creator once with every single tile, and for that we'll just quickly draw something on here as well that's gonna be noticeable, and just for the sake of us really noticing it, we'll color all of this. And as you can see now, obviously it's only really there on the first tile, which usually isn't an issue. I think it's kind of cool that the art can persist over different statuses. So let's start with this guy right here. It's the easiest one, and I think so it makes the most sense. Now what we want to make sure, it snaps to the grid. Now the first thing we'll do is to put this in this bag. If we look in the description of the bag, it already tells you which order you have to have the tiles listed in. First you have to do the background, then the art, and then the status effect. If we have a look at this, we can see we have first the art, then the status, then the background. That's wrong, obviously. We need first the background, then the art, then the status. Now that's done. Great. Now that these are ordered correctly, all we need to do is hover over this one. We will quickly move these to the side because I want to make sure they are not in the way when we are creating the tiles. We will hover over this bag, go into our chat, and type !tile. A bunch of stuff is going to happen. And the script is done. Now what has it done? Basically what it's done now, it's layered. First, it's created 3 different layers. Number 1, it's created the background, then the tile art, and then the status is on top of that tile art. Now if we were to look at this guy, now we have a normal skeleton, right? But the art now persists on every single status effect, even though it was done on Tabletop Simulator. I will quickly go into why this works, but I'll not do a full explanation. If you want to, you can have a look at the script yourself. But as you can see, down here is a layer where there's the background, then we have the art layer, and then we have a status layer. This kind of sandwich is now glued together using the joint mechanic that Tabletop has built in. And as you can see now, you can move the tile. Now, one thing that I have to warn you, if you want to flip this tile, you either have to basically do it like this by drag and dropping over, and then you can flip it, or you have to pick it up and then flip it. If you just hover, it doesn't work. That's one of the big limitations of this, but I think that's a limitation that I at least can live with. Now that we've done that, let's go over to the next one, which is this tile. Now this tile has a few extra properties. We can, because it's one of those normal tiles, one of those tiles we've created like this, we can actually do a little bit of something, and it's just doing this. This is the opacity of the background, and as we can see, suddenly, oh, this one's background is actually see-through. It's transparent, which is great. I think that's actually pretty great, or pretty nice. So for that, we'll just put it into the bag again. Search, we'll obviously delete our old skeleton friend, reorder this stuff again, just like this, and all is done. We just go into here and press !tile. See the magic happen in front of our eyes, and that's it. Now we can have the swirly drawing we did earlier on every single state. Now this can also do something else incredibly cool. Because as we know, we can change background colors, and this one can change that as well. If you have a transparent background on your art, you can do the following. You can go pick up the background, change the color here, like for blue, for example, put it back in, and then run the script. And what we can see is that it actually will keep the... Oh, sorry, I just moved my mouse. That it will actually keep the background color we've selected here for this tile. So this tile can have the same background color in all different states automatically without like doing the selecting and then going create states. Now let's quickly do the third and final method, the method that is a bit more complicated than the others because it still requires you to find a picture online. Now this one's kind of interesting. The idea behind this token creator is that it's made for people who don't know Photoshop, who don't want to get into GIMP, who don't want to do any of that stuff. They just quickly want to find a picture online, copy the image address, put it into some kind of weird magical code, and then have a tile come out from it. Well, this one can do that for you. If we go back into Imgur, and then have a look at these two tiles right here. This is basically vanilla URAMS art that I've added like a few details to that honestly, looking back at them, doesn't even look that great. But it works for the presentation here. Now we have two different styles right here. One has the URAMS background, which is basically signifying this is art you found online that doesn't have a transparent background. Now for this is obviously great because it's still the URAMS background, so it works. And we have this one here, this one has transparent background. As you've probably figured out by yourself, what's going to happen is if we copy this image address and put it onto this token maker, and then once again name this thing create, and pick it up, it creates for us this little thing right here. This one has now the background because we had the background in there as well. If we were to go back into our browser and copy the one with the transparent background, put it in here, rename this thing create, pick it up, then we can see this one also has a transparent background, very well seen by putting it in front of text, for example. Now, if we have got these, we can just do the same thing we did for these tiles, but with this token that we've just created instead of the art we've used previously. So if we put this in and then order it correctly, background, tile art, and status, and then just go ahead and hover over this guy, press type exclamation point tile, magic happens once again, and we've got our tile art, which we just uploaded, right? That already has all the statuses we need. And again, the same thing that worked for this tile, where we changed the background by changing the background color of the tile in this bag. Now, obviously, also works for this. As you can see right here, this one, if we were to use this tile to create a custom tile by just deleting this one that has the transparent background, ordering these correctly, doing this, you can see that this one doesn't have the green this one doesn't have the blue background because obviously the token we've created didn't have a transparent background. But yeah, this one also now has all the tiles. So this is a great way to quickly create tiles without having to go into Photoshop with just having, hey, I have this picture and it looks great, I want it on a tile. Now here's a fair warning if you want to use this token maker. Make sure that your images have basically what's a 1:1 resolution. So 256 by 256, 64 by 64. Any of those work. The entire idea is that if you don't, it kind of squishes it. And the better the resolution is, the better your tile will come out, or the closer it will come out to what it looked like when you found it on the internet. This is basically how you use the first and the second tile creator. Here's your fair warning. You will have to have, if you want to save this and load it into maps, it absolutely works. You don't have to use both of these in this mod. For this version, you only have to really save this in-game tile creator with the text on it. For this one, you will have to use to load all of these. So if you want to save them, just drag and drop over, right click right here, go into save objects, and then save it as custom tile creator version 2, or whatever you want to call it. That's basically how you use these. I hope this was helpful and hopefully not too long. I'm going to edit it down as much as I can. And yeah, have fun playing EuRAMs, I guess.